So the council we used was Newham Council, and they say that 60% of all of their major planning applications, that's obviously the self-build project and what we're doing, you're looking at 13 weeks duration. Like our actual submission took 18 weeks to go through. That's almost a third of the year. So it just puts it into context how challenging things can be. So how much does it cost to submit your application? So to submit the planning applications for both proposed properties, it cost us £700. So that's around £350 per house. But you have to take into consideration that this doesn't include the architect and planner fees, which will be variable, obviously, based on where you are in the UK, as will the local council's charge to submit your application. If you're like me and you hate going to the council's website, go to planningpool.co.uk. There's a calculator on there, and you said just follow the step-by-step guide to get an estimate of how much planning will cost you, and I'll put a link in the description below. It's also worth checking out, and we did this with Newham, that if your application gets rejected, you get a free resubmission. Just give your local planning department a call and find out if the same applies where you are. And if you want to tweak or change your existing application, it is possible, but definitely check with your local council to see exactly how it works, because we submitted ours some time ago and things may have changed since then. So how long does it take for your local council to make a decision on whether your application is going to be accepted or not accepted? I can only talk for Newham in this instance, but the info list is quite clear on their website in relation to the application's timeframes. So we're looking at 60% of all major applications within 13 weeks, 65% of all minor planning applications within 8 weeks, and 80% of all other planning applications within 8 weeks. So they generally aim to make a decision within 8 weeks, and 13 weeks obviously for major applications. Some types of planning related applications are subject to different timescales, and obviously ours was pushed quite over, as I said, because ours actually technically, you could argue, was about to be rejected. So naturally it took a bit. Another thing to consider, for which we didn't know about, was something called seal tax. It's called Community Infrastructure Levy, imposed in 2008 as a tool for all local authorities in England and Wales to help deliver infrastructure to support the development of the area. The seal tax is calculated based on the gross square footage from memory and will be pretty hefty for new builds. I'll need to make a video of how it works exactly, because it's quite complicated and detailed, and we don't have this video to go into that. And this video is just only about planning permission from an overview perspective, just so you've got all bases covered, and you're aware of all the other elements that are needed. And in our case, we were charged 82.17 square meter, around 82 square meters per property, and that equated financially to about 6.5k. With the seal tax, you don't pay it up front. You can pay it. I think you can pay it further down the line. So obviously that will just be factored into the budget when we look for funding, etc. Funny story with this, actually, when the application was submitted, I put the wrong figure of the document in terms of the square footage. The council came back and told us it was incorrect, and then they amended it. And then my sister then had a look at it, corrected the council's calculation. So lesson there, check and check again, because you don't want to be paying seal tax unnecessarily any more than you have to. And also bear in mind as well that if for example you do realize after paid, to try and get your money back from the council, I literally we were going to go via building control via the council, and then we changed our minds and went with a private person. But to get the money back for, I think it was only about 600 quid, it took about 9 months. So once you make sure your calculations are correct for anything you submit to the council, otherwise you're just going to be in for a long ride. That's just a quick summary of what seal tax is, but I'll probably do a separate video on that, because it is quite detailed and it is quite lengthy to understand exactly how it works. So that just about wraps up everything in relation to planning. So key things to take away are: make sure you've got an excellent architect who you get on with and you've got a great relationship with, that will support you throughout the whole planning process. Make sure you've got a planner, or your architect that you've chosen is working with a planner to make sure you adhere to the council's policies to improve the likelihood of your planning application or your major planning application going through. If you're struggling to find a really good resource revert to Google reviews in your local area, use, the local planning portal, looking at other projects to find other architects on there who potentially are really good, and you can see their work and you can see if they've got their applications approved as well. Make sure you're happy 100% with what your architect proposes in terms of your design. 100% you need to be clear, because any changes or tweaks once you've got planning are going to cost you more money. So make sure everyone's happy. And I think I did mention it on my last video, transparency, making sure everyone's clear, everyone's happy with the approach you go. There's no changes to any dimensions or, rooms or what have you, because it's all going to have a knock-on effect, and you may need to then resubmit changes into planning, which just take up more time, and it's just tedious, and you just end up spending more money, which is just frustrating for everybody. So consider precedents as well, having a look down the road, seeing what other people have, seeing if you can change precedent, potentially look at doing a pre-application. The day you get your planning approval through is probably the best day you'll ever have. You'll have beers, you'll celebrate with your architect, with your planner, because you'd have gone through so much rigmarole and aggro. Or you may not have, as I say, if you just want to pay them to do it and not have to deal with it, probably best in hindsight. It's an option to consider. But no better feeling than when you do get your actual application approved and you can then start work. I hope in this video I unlock some secrets for you and your team to minimize, hopefully, the potential roadblocks or issues you may face during your planning application process. It is tedious, but once you get it, trust me, you'll be really happy that you got it done. And as an instant reward for getting your planning application, the value of your property increases, for those that don't know. So use that as a motivator to get it done. And I'll see you on the other side. Let me know down in the comments how you get on with your planning application, or if you had any other experiences that I haven't had during your planning process, because I'll be interested to hear about other people's pitfalls, because I don't think it's going to be the last time I'll be submitting the planning application with the help of Justin and Brian. But yeah, for now, we can look at that in the past and get on with the actual building of this project. So that about wraps up planning. I hope that's helpful. If you've got any questions in relation to my planning journey, just comment down below and I'll see what I can do best to help you with it. Don't forget to like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you on the next video. And what I'm going to be talking about is building control. So this is a phase after you've gone through your planning permission, and essentially now you need to get building control signed off. So see you then. Peace.